Ms. Walton, you say your 9-year relationship with your high school love is in jeopardy because he denies fathering your 1-year-old son, Josiah. Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
Mr. Cherry, you claim that Ms. Walton cheated constantly with another man, and you are 100% sure that he is the father. Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
So, Ms. Walton, why is this DNA test so important to you?
Because, Your Honor, for the past year, I've been going through, this not my son, he not my son, I'm not gonna do nothing for him, and all this, and then he treats my other 2 kids way different than he does Josiah at home, and I really need him to step up and be a father to my son as what he's supposed to be, because that's his son. Look at him, that's his twin.
And this is a 9-year relationship?
Yes, ma'am. We have 3 beautiful kids.
Yes, Your Honor.
This is tough because you have a beautiful family.
And
A
it's on
lovely
rocks.
family.
It's on rocks right now.
And that means the stakes are high. So, Mr. Cherry, you really have doubt?
Yes, I do. I do have doubts because throughout our relationship, it's been just straight lies, you know, so.
Not true.
I just want to be here to let her know that everything that's been going on in our relationship is just lies.
No, yeah.
So
when you say straight lies, I mean, it's been a 9-year relationship.
yes, it's been on and off. It's been kind of rocky. You know, we've been knowing each other since high school. You know, that's my high school sweetheart. You know, so I actually have a lot of love for her. You know, I have deep feelings and emotions for her. You know, so, but throughout the whole time of our 9-year relationship, it's just been lies. So I'm here today just to let her know that Josiah is not mine through the cheating and the lies.
There's a lot to lose. And it's not just about you two. I mean, you have this 9-year relationship, your high school sweethearts. Tell me when it started to go wrong.
It started to go wrong around the time that after high school. You know, we was on and off. I lost contact, so it got kind of hectic between me and her. You know, she decided to want to do what she want to do. I decided to do what I want to do. But, you know, we had set all that to the side and just decided that we're going to do this together. We're going to do this together, you know, just for the sake of what we've been through our high school. So we're just trying to reconnect.
So you said you did what you wanted to do and she did what she wanted to do. Does that mean you all were dating other people and seeing other people?
Yes.
If he cheated,
we
I
were.
cheated. If he lied, I lied. Do unto others as you want done to you.
It was pretty much fighting fire with fire.
So you all were in a tit for tat.
He
Yes.
cheated first.
Okay.
I did that.
And so, wait. So, Ms. Walton, you say he cheated first and then you followed up and cheated too?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, so explain, what happened?
At the time, we had our first daughter first. So we was doing the family thing, you know, happy. He started messing around. When he don't get attention from me or if I don't do what he wants me to do, because he gets controlling, he gets in his little ego and want to go to a female that backs down, Your Honor, and I'm not fit to do that. So he looks for attention somewhere else. So when he looked for attention somewhere else, I did as well.
And so what did you do?
I cheated. I'm not gonna lie to you, Your Honor, I did.
This is what it takes.
And so, listen, explain further. I need to understand what happened because what we're trying to get down to is why he doubts paternity.
He doubts paternity because during the end of 2013, I had met my ex and we were together up until the week before Thanksgiving of 2014, which is
That's it.
basically when I was with him. I didn't get conceived with Josiah until the week of Thanksgiving, which is on Thanksgiving Day, due to us eating and enjoying family.
Way before
you know, and we end up having sex. That's when my son was conceived. But when my son was conceived, I had stopped messing with my ex a week before. So ain't no possibility that is.
Wait, there's just a week in between?
It's been more than week in between. It's been since way past before November and then after November.
but
wait, let me ask you this. Were you and your ex using protection, Ms. Walton?
Yes. Now, with Mr. Cherry, I don't use protection. I don't think I need to. If I do, I'm questioning him.
Well,
But for my ex, I did use protection, so it's no possibility that Josiah is his son.
All right, so you saying it's a week difference. I want to understand this. Let me get my calendar. Now, give me the dates now.
Josiah's birthday is August 18th of 2015.
Okay.
Okay.
add up.
Me and my ex stopped dating a week before Thanksgiving of 2015, which was the 23rd through the 29th. We slept
Okay, so the
together on
23rd to the 29th, you with Mr. Cherry?
Yes.
Lies.
Okay, and then you were with the ex.
The week before Thanksgiving.
So that's the 16th through the 22nd. Well, that's too close for comfort.
Too close.
Miss Walton, you have been honest. You've said, yeah, he was sleeping around and I was too. I was having sex with someone else.
Yes, Your Honor.
But you do understand, Miss Walton, that since you were sleeping around, you know, if he didn't father any children outside of the relationship, the fact that you were sleeping with other people, that would then even further his doubt because you're the one having the children in the relationship.
Yes.
So when it comes to Josiah, you've admitted that just the week prior to having sex with Mr. Cherry, you were with an ex.
Yes.
That makes the conception dates
way off.
Rocky.
uncomfortably
I know.
close.
Rocky.
That window extends really to both men. If you want more episodes of Paternity Court, make sure to subscribe and click on the notification bell.
My testimony is that I've been receiving messages. You know, I caught her, she confessed. I logged into her friend's Facebook account. You know, I seen messages numerous of times, not once, not twice. I have a family member, her kids even told me that a guy's been coming over, you know, that has gold teeth in his mouth.
So
I mean, it's just what I know and what I found out in my evidence.
What do you have?
Okay.
This exhibit here?
Yes, ma'am.
Step towards it.
This is the first evidence I have right here. This is when I went to my family member's house. This is what she told me. She said that a guy that came over that looked something similar like me but had golds in his mouth. You know, so I asked her.
Which is not true, Your Honor, because my ex don't even have gold.
I asked her who the guy was, and she didn't say anything, you know. So a couple more days on down the line, you know, I started digging. But as I started digging, I started finding more evidence. So this is when I started logging into messages and finding out what's going on. So this is my second piece of evidence, the late night pickups. I'm at home with the kids. This is what I get. She's coming home, and these are the messages that I have. It's 1:55 in the morning. Where you supposed to be at 1:55 in the morning? When I come home, she's supposed to be there, but she not. But I'm at the house with the kids.
So wait, 1:55 a.m., come get me.
Yes. This is from her friend's Facebook account.
Oh, and then it said 1:55 a.m., come get me. 1:57, where you at? 1:59, come pick me up.
From his place.
From his place.
Yes.
And she wasn't at home.
No, she was not.
2:01 a.m. on my way. So, Ms. Walton, where is his place?
Probably at his house. And at that time, he was cheating too. So why should I be faithful to somebody that's not faithful neither, Your Honor?
So you basically admitting that during that time you were having sex with somebody else?
Yes.
Okay. Well,
I don't deny. Why lie?
You're not supposed to lie in court, so I'm glad you told the truth.
So this is my third evidence. After we get through arguing, I asked her about it. She confessed.
Yes.
She confessed
Like
to it. So
the
this
other
is what
woman.
brings me to court today to prove to her that Josiah is not mine. This
Because
is why,
I'm honest.
This is why I'm here.
That's why he
This is
questioned
why
it,
I'm here.
because I'm honest.
When you found out you were pregnant with Josiah,
He was happy, Your Honor.
and he was happy about
We
it.
bought
I
pregnancy
was.
tests. I mean,
was
he even called and made doctor's
I
appointments.
was.
Okay, and I have to ask
to
you
be a
this,
father.
since we're being honest today. When you found out you were pregnant, who did you tell?
I told my best friend.
You told your best friend and you told Mr. Cherry?
Yes.
Did you
Yes.
tell the other man?
No.
You never told him?
No.
Because did you ever
Wonder
think
why.
to potentially be his child, or you
No,
just
Your
didn't want
Honor.
him to know?
He cannot be my child's father. So ain't no point in him even knowing the fact that I'm pregnant.
How can you definitively say he is not my child's father when you admit that you were sleeping with him before you were sleeping with Mr. Cherry?
Because in my heart, I know. And I know my
Evidence.
kids.
A lot of evidence.
My
Lot of
kids,
evidence.
I know them. And had he looked like my ex, me as a woman, I would have said, look, this is possibility not your baby. We're going to do this when he born,
Look at
and
the
this is
facial
what it
features.
is.
Look
But
at the features. Look at his ears. Look at his forehead. Look at the eyes.
that's all of you. The nose,
him.
the eyes is
Look
from
at
me.
the
The color
nose.
is from me. The hair is from me. He is his mama's child. Okay? He looks like his father
Well,
in different
I
stages
just
and
want to
different
find
ways.
out. That's all. I just want
If
to
it
find
wasn't
out.
his son, why sign the birth certificate? Why be there?
'cause I
Why
was a
cut his
happy
umbilical
father. I was
cord?
a-
Why
'cause
leave my
I'm
son
not
on
trying to
to that
live in
being
lies.
your son and then
So
all
wait,
of a
he
sudden
cut
it's
the
not?
umbilical cord?
Yes,
I cut the
ma'am.
umbilical cord. I was there at the hospital. I was there through all
Held
the
him,
pregnancies.
all
I was
that.
through there
Rubbed
through
my swollen feet,
OBGYN.
all that.
I was there.
There.
Throughout the whole 9, I was there.
And so, did you have doubts while you were there?
I didn't
Yeah,
have
'cause his
doubts.
color.
I
His
didn't
color.
have doubts at that moment, but as he started getting a little older,
Look at
I
that,
started
Yana, from
kinda-
when he was little.
I started doubting. His facial features looked like me when he was born, but as he started getting older, and I started seeing this other guy's picture of his face, it started resembling him. So that's what I'm doubting for. And I keep asking her over and time and over again, why is it I'm living in lies? Just tell me the truth, and then I can be able to go on and live my life. You know, I just don't want to live in lies anymore. I want her to be upfront as a woman and come tell me that you're not the father in him, but I still want you to be in my kid's life.
And this
He's
hurt-
still gonna be in my
and it
son's
hurts
life.
me.
This hurts you because,
Yes, it does. It really does.
because you feel like you just can't get answers.
I'm searching for answers, but I'm also
That's not
searching for
there.
answers in the wrong place. I'm searching for something that's not there and that don't want to be found. So I just want the truth from her.
All right.
That's it.
And so, Mr. Cherry, how do you feel about Josiah now? She says you treat him differently.
I feel as in I'm not being accepted, as in being in her life.
He know that's his daddy.
Well, you say Mr. Cherry treats him differently.
As in, like, when he gets in his little spells, well, you get him. That's your son. He may not be mine no way. Just because he
no.
born, kids hear that.
I mean,
Kids
Yes,
understand that.
and in Josiah's 1 year, but the other children,
Is old enough. So when my 6-year-old come to me and say, Mama, why daddy say that to Josiah? What am I supposed to tell her? Oh, well, your mama cheated, so he don't think that Josiah is his. So, hey.
the things that we go through in our past, that's what pushes
but
me
this
to say that.
9-year relationship, it seems like it's on the rocks now. I mean, it seems like you all are really having challenges because of this.
We are, Your Honor, but regardless of what the resource is today, he not gonna go nowhere. He's still gonna take care of my kids, and he's still gonna be with me.
But Mr. Cherry, you don't seem too convinced that you gonna stay.
I'm really not, because I'm tired of lies. Throughout our whole relationship, it's just been lies.
It's not lies if I'm telling you.
I mean,
Are you still in touch
haven't.
with the ex, Miss Walton?
No, he's out of sight, out of mind, Your Honor.
What does that mean?
When he start cheating, I'll probably call him back.
I mean,
That's
see,
at this moment.
this is what lead us to the situation we in now.
You all have just taken the leap from tit to tat to vicious cycle. First is this, and then you get so caught up where it's just, you say she did it, he says she did it. We don't know if the egg came before the chicken or the chicken came before the egg. We just know we fried.
Yes.
I'm ready for the results. Jerome,
Yes.
Thank you, Your Honor.
you ready?
Thank
Yes.
you.
All right.
Yes.
These results were prepared by DNA Diagnostics, and they read as follows. In the case of Walton versus Cherry, when it comes to 12-month-old Josiah Cherry, it has been determined by this court. Mr. Cherry, you are the father. Feels good to hear that?
Yes.
I can see the emotion all over your face.
This is
Hard.
it's hard.
A year worth of
I mean-
denial being called
I mean, this
HOE.
is
Hold on,
this
Miss
is-
Walton.
This is
What are you feeling, Mr. Cherry?
what I'm feeling right now is that I can't take back what I said in the past. What's done in the past is done in the past. Sorry, not gonna get it. I'm still wanna be there. I still want to do the things that my daddy didn't do. I still want to be there, and I'm sorry through the heartache. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. That's all I can say is I'm sorry.
When you say you want to be there, we know you want to be there for Josiah. Do you also want to be there for Miss Walton?
We have some things that we gotta work out, but at this moment, I'm just take some time off to get to get my head together, you know. It's a lot of things that I have going on with myself that I have to work on personally. You know, it's a lot of things that I got to work on. For me to take care of somebody else, I have to get myself together first.
Ms. Mcgraw, after growing up in the foster care system just 4 months ago, you found the man whom you believe to be your biological father, the defendant, Freeman Mcgraw Jr.
Yes, Your Honor.
Today, you've brought him to court in order to prove that he is your father. Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
Mr. Mcgraw, you say that you are not the father of Ms. Mcgraw and that you've been very forthcoming with her about this fact. You state you are absolutely certain you can't be her father based on the simple truth that you were away on military assignment when her mother conceived.
Yes,
So,
Your Honor.
Ms. Mcgraw, please tell the court, why do you believe Mr. Mcgraw Jr. is your biological father?
Well, I mean, growing up, I mean, I've always known he was my dad, you know, like my grandmother told me, my cousins told me. I have a picture, you know, of my father, you know, growing up. I have my birth certificate, you know, so he was the only person that I've ever known to be my dad.
You brought that picture to court?
Yes, I did.
May I see that?
Yes, and I have my birth certificate
And
as
you
well.
also said he's on your birth certificate?
Yes, I have the original
Oh, I'd like to see that.
birth certificate.
So this first item of evidence is a family photo.
That's my mom, that's my dad, and that's my brother here, and then the babies, that's me. So, you know, you can imagine, you know, there's no other way that, you know, I can think that someone else is my dad, you know, if I'm presented with a picture like, hey, this is your father.
And then I look on this original birth certificate and I see Freeman Mcgraw Jr. listed as father.
Yes.
Mr. Mcgraw, did you sign the birth certificate?
No, Your Honor, I didn't. She signed the birth certificate.
Who signed the birth certificate?
The mother.
So you weren't there?
Did you know your name was listed?
Not for a long time, I didn't.
Really?
Not for a long time. I never saw any of the paperwork. I never saw any of the birth certificates or anything from the hospital. Now, I took her to the hospital when she was having a baby. I was out in the hallway. And after she had the baby, I never saw any paperwork. No paperwork was presented to me at all.
I mean, I have 3 kids, and I know that my kid's dad, you know, was there. They said, you know, are you the father? Do you want to sign this birth certificate? You know, there's no way that they cannot have you sign.
You might be correct on that, but I never signed the birth certificate. As a matter of fact, you can check the signature. If there's a signature on there, I'm quite sure it's not mine.
What in the world? So
Check
you
the
can
signature.
falsify documents at the
I
hospital?
did not falsify a document.
I see your name,
Do you see my signature, Your Honor?
but I do not see your signature.
Thank you.
What this particular birth certificate says is the certification that the information provided in the certificate is the truth to the best of their knowledge and belief. The person that made that statement, the signature is your mother's.
Right.
It's not his signature. So when he says he did not sign the birth certificate, that would be a true statement. Mr. Mcgraw, in this family photo, you admit that is you.
That's me, yes.
It looks like a happy family taking a photo.
Well, Your Honor, I stepped up, you know, to try to do the right thing because those kids didn't have anything. You know, she didn't have anything. And the only person that they knew during that time was me.
You admit you were in her life.
Yes.
And you also admit it was her understanding that you were her biological father.
Yes. That's her understanding. That's what mom told her. That's what her family members told her. But, you know, a few times during the course of our relationship, you know, mother would get angry, you know, tell me I was not her father, you know.
And you didn't ask for a DNA test, Dad? That's what I'm saying.
me?
You didn't ask for a DNA test like most people ask. I'm
I
not
did
going
not
to
ask for a DNA test because I was still taking care of you guys, you know.
Right,
I
but
was
if you
still there
believe
with
that
you,
you
and I-
weren't my dad, you know, why didn't you just ask her for, you know, a DNA test versus me having to go through what I went through? Like now that I'm a grown person and I'm sitting there trying to figure out who my dad is, if you believed you weren't the dad, why didn't you just ask for a DNA test? You know, to spare me just
because
that
your
much.
Because your mother was something else. She put me through a lot, you know. But each time I wanted to turn around and leave, you know, she'd fall down, grab my legs, you know, please don't leave me. You know, I'm sorry, you know. Then I look at these kids, because they were very young at the time. I stepped up knowing that they wasn't my biological children, but, you know, they needed somebody. You know, and I wanted to be there for them.
Specifically, how did you know you were not her biological father? Because presumably you were in a sexual relationship with her mother.
Exactly.
Yes. We would always go out in the field a lot when I was in the service. We'd go out 30 days, we'd come back for a week, do maintenance, and then go right back out again for another 30 days. Now, the following time, during the time of conception, now when I left, she had a period. Then when I came back after them 30 days, she wants to take a pregnancy test. And she took it, and I'm like, man, this has got to be crazy, you know? She always had the habit of meeting strange people, you know, to bring them in the house, let them live with us and everything, because I'm gone all the time. So when I come home, she had a family there, you know, and this lady told me, she says, I never met you before, so I didn't know what type of person that you was. So I'm going to tell you that your girlfriend, she's been sleeping with a guy named Bill.
Really?
You know? Yes. So I confronted him.
Ms. Mcgraw, I want to know from you, did you ever hear about a guy named Bill?
Never. I have never heard of anybody with the name Bill, Bob. I've never heard of anybody else but him.
I confronted this man, and he told me that he didn't want anything to do with her or that child.
Mr. Mcgraw,
yes, Your Honor.
Clearly you were in her life. At what point did you leave?
We went to Detroit. I had got out of the service and everything, and I was going to leave them down there in Georgia. But she begged me, oh, we don't have nowhere to go. You're the only daddy that they know. Oh, please don't leave us. Okay? I brought them with me to Detroit. My mother said, why did you bring that girl there when you know that child wasn't yours? I said, Mom, they don't have anywhere else to go. I got us a house in Detroit. Now, we got into an argument, so, you know, I left him at the house. I went down to see my mom, you know. She called me. She asked me to come back home so we could talk. I said, you know what? I'm tired of going through stuff with you. I don't feel like I should come back. Oh, please come back. So I go. Now I go there, she treats me nice. We're sitting there having a nice conversation. All of a sudden, she's knocking on the wall. What are you knocking on the wall for? Oh, it's nothing. I'm just doing it. I come to find out that was a signal for the girl that lived upstairs to call the police. And they arrested me. They put me in handcuffs. They let her go into my pocket, take my keys out of my pocket, take all of my money out of my pocket, and they took me to jail. They did not file any charges on me.
What was her motive for doing that?
For money. She just wanted the money. They let me out of jail, right? My mom turned her back against me. My brothers and sisters did. They say because you had no business bringing that girl up here, knowing that baby and that little boy was not yours.
How old was Ms. Mcgraw when you left?
When she was 2 years old.
Very little.
Yes.
Ms. Mcgraw, I know this is hurting you. What do you need to ask the man you believe to be your father?
I was told a different story. I was told they fought a lot, and, you know, she was tired of the fighting, and she left. When you're in foster care, you know, and you're 2, you know what I mean? You're raised by somebody else's family. You have to grow up with people making fun of you. So, and it makes me angry that he's just making my mom out to be this bad person because the simple fact is he's saying, okay, I'm not the dad, but you know, if it was so bad in the beginning, why did you even stay? Why did you, you know, like, why you didn't even think to say, okay, well, this could be my child. Why don't I see if this is my kid? You know, they just left me there.
Ms. Mcgraw, while you are in foster care, you're thinking to yourself, why isn't my father coming to get me?
Yes, I was wondering where my dad was. You know, you go through something and everybody's like their dad, their mom, their dad, you know, and I wanted to know where mine was and why my dad didn't come for me. When it come for me, why I had to be there and get to deal with the kids picking on me. You know, it's hurtful. And so my grandma said, you know, that she would look for him. For me, you know, because my whole family knew of him. That's all they knew. My aunt,
But you were in foster care.
But I was in foster care, yeah. But my biological family, they weren't far. You know, they all lived, you know, pretty close by. You know, so when I got put in foster care when I was 2, apparently she didn't get what she wanted. You know, so they gave us back to the system. because she thought she was gonna get a house, she's gonna get a car, and she didn't. So I guess she felt like, okay, well, since I'm not getting this, let me go ahead and, give him back. So they gave us back. And so I had a close relationship with my grandma, I didn't see my mom. I only saw her like twice. And my grandma, she's like, it's gonna be okay. She's like, I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna look for your father for me. But she got hung up with like his mom or somebody's social security number or something where she couldn't find him. So they were like, okay, well, the last place that we knew him to be was in California, and then she passed away. So, I couldn't go from there with anything,
Mr. Mcgraw, did you hear about any of this? Any of this?
No, ma'am.
Did you know she was in
Your Honor.
foster care?
No, Your Honor, I did not. Her mom called me when I was in California. She said, I just wanted to just tell you that I'm sorry for all the stuff I've done. I said, now, what about the baby? You going to tell the baby who her daddy is?
When I talked to you on the phone, you didn't say that. I asked you, when we talked on the phone and you asked me when my mom passed away, I told you that she passed away when I was 12. And then you said, oh, well, she called me.
Yes.
And you did say she apologized for everything that she did. And I said to you then, because you said that you didn't know where I was and that you didn't know what was going on. So I asked you when I talked to you on the phone, did you say, well, how is she? Or anything. I asked you, did you ask anything? You said no.
Because I asked your mother if she's going to tell you who your father was.
You didn't say that. That's not what you told me.
Well, that's what I told your mother. I might have not have told you.
And so when you asked her this question, how did she answer?
She told me she would.
She said she would.
That's all I know.
And that's why you never turned back. Yeah. Because that question just confirmed that she was not yours.
Yes, ma'am.
All right, Ms. Mcgraw, you've brought a witness. I'd like to hear from him. Please stand, sir. State your name.
Danielle Drake.
Mr. Drake, you are?
Her brother.
You're the young man from this picture.
Yes.
I can see that. So do you remember Mr. Mcgraw in your life?
Yes.
You do?
Yeah.
Do you remember hearing that he was your sister's biological father?
First of all, like you said, we really didn't have no father figures out there like that. So he was the only one that we knew of. So therefore, when my sister was born, that's all that my mom was talking about, like him being a father. I never heard the Bill name. I knew they went through their emotional issues and stuff like that and got into physical, emotional, verbal abuse fights and stuff like that, but never knew the stipulations about what they was arguing for. For him to even say that he wanted to step up and that's the reason why he didn't back down, understood, respected. I'm a father myself. I take care of kids that's not mine and all that. You know what I'm saying? But the relevancy is like you have to bring some clarity to somebody, some way, somehow. You know what I'm saying? Some people need closure. And this is the gate that's still open.
And he moved on with his life, never knowing all that your sister went through.
Right. He left the doors open rather than come to her. You could have ended up being a man like, hey, yo, I know you, I took care of you, I love you to death. You know what I'm saying? I was there for you and your brother. I did X, Y, Z.
So, Ms. Mcgraw, what are you hoping for today?
I just wanted a relationship with my dad. I grew up without my dad. And that's it. I just wanted to have that relationship. Everybody has one. I didn't have one. I'm hurt and I'm angry. I just wanted to be able to say, hi, Dad, or call my dad. Like, right now we're okay, when we talk on the phone, he's there, but it's just, I don't want to feel like I'm burdening someone else if he's not my dad. Since he's saying he's not my dad, so I don't want you to feel like I'm burdening you or you have to deal with me. You know what I mean? So that's why I want to know for sure if you're my dad, since you're saying you're not. If you're my dad, and I'll be okay. And like I said, if you're not, I don't know who this real person is. I never heard of him, so I'm not going to look. It's no point. There's no last name,
I'll still be there for you if you let me,
I
will. I just didn't know all of this was going on during her life. Nobody contacted me. Nobody said anything. I didn't know anything.
So when you spoke to him and you heard her say, are you my dad? Yes. You knew exactly who she was.
Yes.
And your answer was?
I told her no, and then I started telling her the story of how all of this became.
Mr. Mcgraw, what are your hopes today?
Well, hope she can find out the truth today, if I'm her father or not.
I have the results for you. Are you ready to hear them? Jerome? These results were prepared by DNA Diagnostics, and they read as follows. In the case of Mcgraw versus Mcgraw Jr., when it comes to 31-year-old Huanaki Mcgraw, It has been determined by this court. Mr. Mcgraw, you are not her father.
That's the story I've been trying to do. I mean, I've been there for her. I still will be there, you know. You should let me.
I'm so sorry. I know that is not what you needed to hear.
If you let me, I'll be there, okay? I'll be there for you, okay? Nothing's gonna change, all right? Okay? Nothing's gonna change. I'll be there for you anytime you need me.
This other gentleman, have you heard of his whereabouts?
I'll do whatever I can to help, you know.
I was just going to ask you that.
Yes,
I was
ma'am.
going to say,
Yes.
if she needs your help,
If she do it, I'll be there.
you will help her?
Yes.
Try to identify this
Yes.
person? Thank you for that. Ms. Sims, you say your mother and your alleged father intentionally deceived you for 36 years by claiming that Mr. Johnson is your biological father. You are suing them for paternity fraud because you claim to have proof that you are not his daughter. Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
Ms. Smith, you say you have always believed Mr. Johnson is your daughter's father, and you intend to prove it today. Is that correct?
That's true.
Ms. Sims, so what do you mean they deceived you?
Well, for my whole life, I've always thought that Henry, my dad, is my dad. And I just have a multitude of things that have come up that show me that he potentially could not be, including my health and my daughter's health, where we don't have any family history that is consistent throughout the family of my dad's family.
And so what does that feel like to be lied to feel like you've been deceived your whole life?
I mean, it's distressing. I mean, because it doesn't only affect me, but my own offspring. So I'm upset about it, and I'm very disappointed, but I don't know what else to say about it.
All right, Ms. Smith, your daughter says you misled her. How do you respond to that?
I never intentionally lied to her a day in her life. So where she's coming up with this, I don't know.
Miss Sims, you grew up a daddy's girl.
Right, definitely a daddy's girl.
With a wonderful relationship with the man you were told was your biological father.
Absolutely.
Can you talk to the court about that?
Yes, my dad I met my dad when I was 4 years old. So, I mean, a little later than most people, but after I was introduced to him, I spent a lot of time with him. He made me who I am today. He made me strong. He made me very, very responsible. He was the person that definitely encouraged me to be a better person always. So yes, I'm definitely a daddy's girl.
And Mr. Johnson, you have great memories with your daughter.
Yes, I do. I remember taking her out to eat. We sit there and talk for hours and helping with her schoolwork, personal problems. I just tried to be the best dad I could.
Mr. Johnson, how has your relationship changed since this paternity issue has come to light?
I've always known there were some doubts, but I never mentioned it to her because I didn't see any reason for it. Maybe she has less trust in me now, but it doesn't affect the way I feel about her.
You say you feel like she may have less trust in you.
Yeah.
Do you feel that way?
I mean, in a small aspect, yes. I mean, my mom and my dad, because together they raised me. So together they knew that there was an opportunity that someone else could be my biological father, and it was never a topic of conversation.
So specifically, what happened that made you realize that there could be another possibility?
So in 2001, I was diagnosed with lupus. And you know how when you go through your physical, like they say, give me your family history and things of that nature, where I have no autoimmune disorders on either side of my mother or father's family. And so I just rolled that out. Throughout that, I went to nursing school and I became a nurse. And with more research and really understanding the disease process, I realized that it could be hereditary
and there could be some background to the things that are wrong. And then a couple of years ago, my daughter here, she began to start having some physical health ailments, and I'm like, this is very in line with my my time frame of age and everything, and we just don't have that. So at that point, it's like, I need to find out the truth.
So what do you say to your mother when you get this information and you say, I don't see these medical issues on either side of my family tree? What do you say to your mom?
Well, I actually talked to my dad first, because, you don't ever want to, insult anyone or anything like that. And I actually talked to my dad about it. And my dad kind of was like, well, yeah, I kind of agree that there may be, a chance that you're not mine. And I will support you to look for, to look for your person.
How long ago was this?
Like, I want to say a year, a little bit more than a year.
Okay.
And so that shocked me, and I was just like, I mean, that's a big pill to swallow when your dad actually does know that he could potentially not be your dad and has never mentioned it, right?
So, Ms. Smith, do you remember when your daughter came to you and spoke to you about the possibility she may have another father, and is there something you hadn't told her?
She was FaceTiming me on the phone, and when she mentioned it, she was laughing and giggling, so I thought she was joking. I didn't read anything into it and didn't say anything about it, so.
So do you remember that conversation, Ms. Sims? What did you say to your mother, and why did she say you were laughing?
My husband and I were sitting on the sofa, and I'm video chatting because we live in separate states. And I was like, Mom, is my dad my dad? And she was like, kind of gave me like the, I don't know, or the,
blow off, kind of blew it off.
Yeah, and that kind of was like, oh my gosh, because this is the person that should be 100% sure.
So, Ms. Smith, Mr. Johnson, did you finally just admit that there's another possibility?
Yes, there is a possibility.
And so, what's your relationship? How did you two meet?
We both had the same job. We were cab drivers. When you're idle, you sit on a cab stand until you get a call. And we happened to be on the same cab stand at the same time. And we ended up talking across each other. We ended up getting acquainted and ended up being friends. And then after we got to be friends, she'd come visit. We play music and talk and dump our problems on each other and stuff like that. It just went farther.
Kind of got serious.
Yeah.
You all became, did you become a couple?
No, we did not become a couple. She was already in a relationship.
Oh, so that's why you say you get together, play the music, and dump your problems on one another.
Yeah.
I understand now. But at some point it became sexual, or you would not believe you were a possibility.
That's right.
So how long did the sexual relationship last?
One day.
Oh, just one day?
Yes, one day.
So why did you look at him like that, Miss Smith?
Apparently my mind ain't working right for me.
Why? You say it's more than one day?
Definitely.
So, Mr. Johnson, what do you remember? You say you only had sex with Ms. Smith one time?
We were seeing each other for about 2 months as friends. One day we took a shower together and we ended up in the bed having sex.
Did you know she was in another relationship at the time?
Yes, I did. That's why it took me so long.
Oh, that's why you didn't try to have sex with her sooner, but then this day after the shower, all bets were off.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, Your Honor.
Yeah, if you could have seen your daughter's face when you said you all took a shower together. No kid wants to hear that, right?
Right.
So, Ms. Smith, how soon after the sexual encounter with Mr. Johnson did you find out you were pregnant?
2 to 3 months.
So about 2 to 3 months after that, what did you do with that information? Who did you tell?
I told him I was pregnant, and I told my ex I was pregnant.
Okay, so at that point, as a young woman, you realized you were in a question of paternity situation. You told both men, I'm pregnant, you may be the father.
I didn't say all that. I just said that I was pregnant. Everybody
So
knew
did
I
they
was
ask
pregnant.
you, were they the father?
No.
Oh.
Henry and I, soon as I found out I was pregnant, we cut it off.
Oh, okay. I need to ask you, Ms. Sims, did you ever hear about this other person?
So never directly about the other person, but there were lots of things in my life that were consistent with another person.
Can you explain some of those things?
Absolutely. One, my last name was, and my dad's last name is Johnson.
Right.
Secondly, my birth certificate has someone else's name on it besides my dad.
It does?
It does.
Your birth certificate reads your name, your mother's name, and then for the father's name, there is another man's name. It's not Henry Johnson.
Not Henry Johnson.
So you had a name.
Yes, I had a name. And I mean, the way it's explained to us, or to me, is that that was just an X, you know, and consistently, me and my siblings all had the same last name. So, you know, growing up, it wasn't as big a deal because we still all had the same name. And my mom just said, well, I gave you my name, my last name. So that was definitely a huge, huge factor.
So, Ms. Smith, obviously you thought it was your ex's child, and you gave your daughter his last name, right?
In the beginning, yes, I did.
And then when did you realize it could be Mr. Johnson's, that he could be your daughter's biological father?
When she got to be about 2 months old, the pictures and everything about her mannerism were like Henry's. And so in my mind, Henry was her father.
I didn't meet my dad until I was 4. Like, that doesn't make sense.
Yes, it does.
Well, we were estranged. We met up every once in a while in high and by passing, because he was in relationships, I was in relationships, so it wasn't like there was a great big conversation piece going on at that point.
So, Ms. Smith, at what point did you decide to tell Mr. Johnson he is her father, or that he was the other possibility?
She was getting older, and I figured it was time for him to get to spend time with her and meet her. And I just said she needs her father in her life.
And so, Ms. Sims, you just said out loud, but I didn't meet my father till I was 4. Mr. Johnson, take me to the day you met her.
Her mom had contacted me and told me that I had a daughter, that Quiata was my daughter. I went to meet her, and we walked in the house, and she asked me, "Are you my daddy?" And I said no, because I did not know what her mom had told her.
Okay.
And so, but when she went in the room crying, I went in after her and said, I actually said, I didn't know what your mom was going to tell you, but I'm your daddy, and she's been my daughter ever since.
Yes, it has.
So, Mr. Johnson, you submitted a calendar to the court to explain how this question of paternity got to be so confusing. You remember being intimate with Ms. Smith in November or December?
Late November or early December is when we were intimate. And it's a possibility there that I was the father, and I had to step up.
Understood. When were you born?
August 7th, 1978.
Okay, so you were born in August, but you said it was the end of November, early December. That puts us right about 8.5 months, right around there. The bottom line is, when you count back, it does put your encounter with Mr. Johnson within a questionable window as it relates to paternity. So, Ms. Sims, tell the court how much this resolution means to you.
It means a lot to me. Like, once again, I said, you know, I'm a nurse and a mom. And just with my knowledge of the medical history and background, it's important for me to identify, you know, if my dad's not my dad, if there's someone else and I can kind of trace their history to see if there's other genetic diseases that I need to be worried about. Also, my daughter may one day want to have a family too, and is it something that she should be worried about? Also, I've already lost one child. I do not want to lose another one to something that I can, avoid by just a little bit of information and doing things before it happens versus hindsight.
All right. Well, the only way we can begin to see how to move forward is to get these results. Jerome? These results were prepared by DNA Diagnostics, and they read as follows. In the case of Sims versus Smith Johnson, when it comes to 40-year-old Quiata Sims, it has been determined by this court. Mr. Johnson, you are the father. That's your baby girl.
Yeah.
That feels good.
Yes.
How do you feel, Miss Sims?
I feel really good because I didn't want him not to be, but I just knew that there was a possibility. And I guess things that happen medically, this must have just started with me. So it's okay.
So this is such a wonderful story. I'm so happy. I see the tears, Mr. Johnson. What do you feel?
Happy.
Happy.